So hi everyone, welcome back to the channel, or welcome to the channel if you're new here. Today is going to be a bit more of a casual, a bit more cozy and sit down and conversational video, and it's going to be a roundup of the spring summer 26 collections, so all of the ready to wear collections that have just taken place over Fashion Month. And I mentioned in my London Fashion Week vlog that I was going to do this video, so I said that once Fashion Month was over I was going to do a roundup of all of the different patterns, so trend predictions, but also just the general inspirations and things that I have loved from the runways, and kind of compile them into one list. And that is exactly what I've done. So I actually did go through the whole of Vogue Runway, so I went from A to Z, all of the different spring summer ready to wear collections, and I have compiled a list of all of the different patterns, but also just the general things that have stood out to me from various different designers that I find really cool, very inspiring, and things that I want to take into my own wardrobe for the rest of the year, but also in the new year as well. So I do think it will be nice to share, because maybe it'll be good inspiration for your wardrobe as well. So the first thing on my list, I truly can't believe I'm saying, because ever since I was a teenager I've always said that I will not wear this print, but for some reason the spring 26 runways have changed my mind, and I truly can't believe it, but it's florals. And florals is something that I've always associated with kind of basic clothing, or just kind of grandma-y type clothing, if I'm perfectly honest. But this season I feel like the way that designers have styled and created floral pieces have actually been very youthful and very cool and endearing, and something that now I would consider bringing into my wardrobe. And the collection and designer that has truly changed my mind about this is Anna Sui, or Anna Sui. I just think the way that she's styled this collection is so cool, like the different layering of the floral prints, but with very youthful kind of boho silhouettes, I personally think is really cool. And I just love this whole collection overall in terms of the styling and the different pieces kind of mix match together, and I just really love this collection. So definitely go and have a look at it if you haven't seen it. And other designers that also used floral was Louis Vuitton, and again I just really loved the whole Louis Vuitton runway. I thought it was so beautiful, especially this first opening look. But one kind of detail that I noticed was the use of florals, and again, like I said, I have never in my life considered wearing florals, but something about the way that these pieces were created, or just how they look on the runway, have really inspired me. The next one's quite random, and it's not even something that I'm particularly drawn to in terms of a aesthetic for my personal wardrobe, but I just had to call it out because it truly has been on so many different runways. And the fact that it's been on so many different runways does make me think it's going to be a trend next year, and I do think it'll be interesting to speculate on why so many designers have incorporated this, so I would love to get your thoughts on it. But it's basically the use and the design, or the styling option, of a low waistband, and this could just be a lead on from the drop waist trend, or the overall low rise trend that we've seen over the past couple of years. But this does feel different because it's more of a exaggerated waistband that feels like it's a separate material, almost like a huge belt, but more of a fabric. And it's really interesting because it was on so many different runways, it was done by so many different designers. So I saw it on Aletta, on Ashley Williams, on Hugo Boss, Ferragamo, Jack Moose, Jill Sander, Rachel Comley, and even Rick Owens as well. And like I said, I'm not even particularly drawn to this aesthetic, but I just think it's really interesting that so many designers chose to do this. And actually one way that I would incorporate this trend or this design choice into my wardrobe is in outerwear. So I did see this look on the trench from Altazara, and also this orange coat coat from Bevza, and I do think kind of putting the waistband or the tie on a coat a bit lower down is really cool and really fresh. And now the idea of putting a waistband or putting a tie in the center of my waist just feels kind of dated, almost like how wearing high-rise jeans feels dated in my mind. And I would really love to wear a trench and put the tie a bit lower down. I feel like this is really cool, and I feel like the way that this has been styled feels really fresh. So let me know what you think of that, but definitely something that I wanted to call out. The next thing on my list, and something that I really want to talk about for inspiration, is Dilara. And there isn't even one specific thing or one takeaway that I want to spotlight from her collection. It's just everything. Whatever this aesthetic is, whatever this vibe is, I'm obsessed with it. This is what I want my style to be. I don't even know how you would describe it. I don't know how you would translate it into everyday wearable pieces, but whatever the energy of this collection is, that is what I want in my everyday life. It's what I want in my wardrobe. I'm obsessed with the lace. I'm obsessed with the latex wrapped around the lace. And she always has this kind of gothic, kind of bridal vibe, but this season felt a bit more light, a bit more fresh, while still being quite edgy, and I was obsessed with it. If you don't know Dilara, definitely go check her out. Incredible designer. Actually, Dilara's collection does lead me on to another thing that I've taken away from all of the spring summer 26 runways, and it is lace. And I know lace is a really kind of basic thing to talk about, but I did see it a lot on the runways this fashion month, and I think it was done in a really cool way because it was done in this kind of more collagey and subtle way and used as layering. And this is definitely a way that I would want to embrace lace in my wardrobe, and I do just think generally it's quite a timeless thing and a timeless textile, so I probably will always love lace. But the collections that I loved the way that they did lace was Acne, Dilara, of course, like I mentioned, Marco Rambaldi, also sandy-liang as well, and two final collections that also incorporated lace that I really liked were number 21 and also yuhan-wang. But what stood out to me more with these two was also their styling. So I've only just come across number 21, but I really feel like the way that they style their pieces is really good inspiration for everyday wear. And yuhan-wang, I probably wouldn't dress like this every day, but I just love aesthetically the way that she puts her whole collections together cohesively, so wanted to call her out as well for her use of lace. But yeah, that is something that I'm also loving from this season. The next one is something that I'm loving aesthetically, and also I think could be a real trend prediction for next year, because I've seen this across so many different runways and it is a bit niche and unconventional, so I was surprised to see it across so many different designers, and I'm calling it fur where fur shouldn't be, or faux fur where faux fur shouldn't be. And the reason why I'm calling it fur where fur shouldn't be is because so many designers this season comprised pieces out of fur that isn't typically a furry piece. So like usually we think of a fur piece like fluffy boots or a fluffy scarf, but this season they were really using a faux fur material in places you just wouldn't expect. So I saw it on the Louis Vuitton runway, on Alexander Wang, on Altarazza, on Antonio Moraz, on this cool look, and Christian Cohen on Fashion East, Fendi, Givenchy, Laquan Smith on these incredible fur bags. I really want one of these, and also on Mugler as well. And I just think it's really interesting that so many different types of designers again have incorporated this design code, and it definitely makes me think we're gonna see this as a trend because it was just across so many different runways, and I just find this really fun. I think it's also a fun trend or fun inspiration inspiration to think about for your winter wardrobe actually. I've actually just ordered this hat from Vinted and I'm very tempted to get some fluffy boots as well, but I also think it would be really cool to find a jacket or style a fur piece in a unconventional way. It's definitely a bit random, but I'm personally loving the aesthetic of it so much. Something else that also stood out to me from the runways, and I know again that this has also been a trend for the past few months or even the past year, but it was sheer skirts, and I don't think there's anything particularly revolutionary about a sheer skirt, but there is something about it that I will always love aesthetically, and I really loved the sheer skirts on Julie Cagle's runway. And again, I think I have mentioned Julie Cagle's on the channel before. I'm so obsessed with this emerging women's wear designer. She's only showed in Paris for a few seasons, I believe, but I'm just so obsessed with her styling because she styles in this really mix and match way, and I just think it really represents how people want to dress. And I just particularly loved these sheer skirts from the collection that she's just put out. But there were some other runways with sheer skirts, so there was Acne, also Carvin, Margiela, Schiaparelli, Susan Fang. They all had incredible examples of sheer skirts, and I also wanted to call out this look, so look 11 from this designer. I know it's not a sheer skirt, but I really love it. It's basically a sequin kind of skirt, and it kind of has the same aesthetic in my mind, and again, I really love the styling of this look, so I wanted to spotlight it as some inspiration. And the final thing that I wanted to spotlight from this spring summer 26 ready to wear runways was just layered tanks. And again, I actually think this idea of layering tanks or layering simple kind of top pieces in different ways is something that I mentioned in my trend prediction video at the start of the year. I said that we were going to see this a lot, and to be honest, I haven't seen it as much as I initially thought we would at the start of the year. But even if we don't see it as a trend, I feel like it's good inspiration in terms of how to make an outfit more interesting or style your existing pieces in new ways. But I did see it on Alan Paul, I saw it on Carvin, on Fashion East. All of this just really scratches an itch in my mind in terms of styling, and even though it was a kind of niche or small aspect and detail that I saw from the runways, I personally really liked it. And that was really everything that I wanted to call out. I really hope it gave you some inspiration. I'd love to know what you thought of Fashion Month overall, what your favourite runway was, and definitely like and subscribe if you like this video, and send me a DM on Instagram. I'd love to chat to you, and until the next one, I will see you next time. Bye!